I want to go deep on that. So there's this way of making a company where you can get funding, or where you can just
bootstrap.
Yes, bootstrapping through sales, right? So I'm all through sales kind of guy, but I know the importance of having funding at some point. So when do you think it's the right point to do that?
Well, it really depends on what you're trying to build. If you're trying to build something which is very heavy on the tech side, it's going to need investment to create something that the customer will buy. If you're targeting the B2C segment, so if you're targeting end users, they might be more open to a less featureful product. If you're targeting B2B, so a business consumer, enterprise consumer, you probably have to need a more full-featured product. But this is not to say that you cannot do it without funding. I mean, think about the Slack guys who had very little funding in the beginning, and they made an impressive product. It really depends on how fast you can deliver your first revenue-generating product. I agree with you. It's always much better to live through your sales and your clients' money than through investment. It means you're independent and that you can do the decisions you want to do and the investments that you want to do. But sometimes that's not just not possible. But definitely capital helps. Be very careful with how much you raise. Having too much capital on a startup is actually bad for the company, unlike a lot of people think. In an early stage, because it gets you out of focus. Then you think you have the ability to shoot in as many directions as you want, because it's an endless pool. But that pool actually ends, and if you haven't achieved anything meaningful by the end of that round, or by the end of that, it's going to be
detrimental to you in the end.
You're not going to be able to raise another round, and by then you will be too late to make your company sustainable. Techstars had this report on a metric while we were in the program. Had this report on a metric which I never saw anyone else talk about, but it's I think it's very interesting. The metric was called default dead or default alive. And default dead or default alive meant that through your business plan and with the amount of capital that you had in the bank, were you able to turn your company into a sustainable business? So if you could not raise any more capital with the planned growth of your company, with the money that you have, could you make it sustainable? If you could make it sustainable, then you were default alive. If you couldn't, you were default dead. And having companies report on that metric really gives you a sense of urgency of using the capital that you have with the targeted investments and targeted actions to actually build on that and be able to raise either the next round or bring the company to sustainability.